and Samskritam. I have been blessed to volunteer Arsha Seva Kendram, and we are all very much aware that Samskritam is the key to our culture, to study our scriptures, and that is the key. With its revival and growth, our culture expands and improves our thinking and various values of life. I congratulate all of you for taking the decision to learn this Deva Bhasha, which will enhance our life and improve our culture. I would now like to give you a small introduction to Arsha Seva Kendram. Arsha Seva Kendram is a non-profit organization that started its activities from Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu in April 2019. The founders of this organization are Dr. Jaykumar Srinivasan Ammangudi and Srinivasan Krishnaswamy and Sunita Ramaya. Pujya Swamiji Dayananda Saraswati has always been the beacon of inspiration for the founders of Arsha Seva Kendram. The motto of Arsha Seva Kendram is highlighted through the verses on our website, which says, Vidyayaya Vindate Udtam Danena Adanam Tara Kurum Sevam Tvam. These verses convey the importance of imparting the right knowledge as given by our rishis and doing seva to the society. In ancient India, there used to be smooth flow of tradition knowledge from one generation to the other. We are trying to contribute to this ancient parampara of imparting the knowledge of Vedanta and Samskritam. Our Vedanta teachers have undergone rigorous systematic studies under Pujya Swamiji Dayananda Saraswati and are engaged in imparting the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and numerous other Vedantic texts, backed by the knowledge of Samskritam. We also conduct Bhagavad Gita chanting, yoga, and meditation classes. There are dedicated classes for children and youth as well. Apart from conducting various courses, Arsha Seva Kendram has always been alert to the needs of the society. We have extended helping hands to people suffering from natural calamities like floods in Tamil Nadu and cyclones in Odisha and West Bengal. During the COVID crisis, we served the needy in 4 states by providing food, medicines, and financial help, supporting vulnerable Vedic Pandits, medical expenses of their families, Goshalas, Veda Padashalas is something we take seriously and is ongoing. Arsha Seva Kendram has provided financial assistance to organizations that rehabilitate disabled children. Arsha Seva Kendram is active in reviving large yet defunct temples, engaging village communities to practice their traditions, and reviving Voduvars who sing in the temples the tradition in Shiva temples. We are engaged in Indian history awareness and textbook reform programs. We also work towards the upliftment of underprivileged children. Our flagship program is dedicated tuition and culture center for 85 children in Mysore, where the underprivileged children are fully educated through college and their families are adopted. Our aim is to enable the children to become responsible leaders in our respective communities. We are glad that our organization is also able to spread its wings to include various other Seva activities, educational and development programs every year. Anyone interested in knowing and being part of the Seva activities or other teaching programs can get in touch with us. We welcome you to extend your helping hands in any of our projects that interests you. There is so much to say. Owing to the time constraint, I would request Narayanji to take over. Dhanyawada.
Dhanyawada Rukmini ji. Let me bring up what is that we plan to do in this year as with regards to Samskritam. I hope my screen is visible. Okay, so this is a small short presentation about what is on the table for offer as far as Samskritam is concerned. Rukmini ji spoke about various other courses that we offer, various other classes that we offer related to Vedanta, related to Bhagavad Gita chant, Bhagavad Gita, related to Kathopanishad or related to Upanishads. There are also other courses which are focused on people learning chanting in terms of Parayanam, Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Sahasranamam, Saundarya Lahari. So I'm not covering any of those here. This set of slides, a couple of slides, will basically talk about what is that we have to offer as far as Samskritam courses for this year is concerned, 23-24. So you would have seen from our course brochure and as well as from our registration form, there are broadly two sets of courses that we are offering. One is the traditional course where you would be taught or where you would learn about the language, starting from Sasyam, which is the beginner level, where we expect people who join Sasyam would have a good understanding of the script, Devanagari script. We are not expecting people who join Sasyam to know much beyond the Devanagari script, but if you do know, it's welcome. The Lata is the intermediate course where you would get into different Karmani Vachaka and Sandhis. Malati is the advanced intermediate and Kamalam is the advanced course. So we have 4 levels of courses. The learning doesn't stop with Kamalam. I mean, Sasyam, Lata, Malati and Kamalam to a large extent will prepare you for helping you to get into specific areas of your interest. Samskritam is a broad ocean, and these 4 courses will help you to take a small dip in the ocean of Samskritam. That's as far as the traditional courses are concerned. The traditional courses are typically 1-year long courses. We have broken up into 2 semesters, so it would be spread over 2 semesters, like depending on the faculty, on the acharya who's taking the class. But most of the courses would be in 2 semesters. And mostly there would be a break in between the semesters. That is as far as the traditional courses are concerned. I'll talk more about it in my next slide. As far as the short-term courses are concerned, these are typically 6-month long courses which will give you an insight into the different topics. In 6 months, obviously, we cannot cover any of these topics completely. which will give you an insight, and depending on the interest level of the students, our acharyas would be prepared to take you further on the journey. One is obviously Panini Vyakarana, then Amarakosha Balavarga. This is one course we are trying it out this year, which is tailored for children, and this is weekly 4 sessions in a week, consecutive days. This is we want the children to get exposed to Amarakosha, which has been a tradition of our Sanatana Dharma for many years ago. The third one is Amarakosha Part 1, which is for adults. Indic knowledge system is something which we are introducing this year, which will talk about the developments or what is available from our ancient knowledge systems. And the Bhagavad Gita Vak, which is also analysis of the Bhagavad Gita from a Samskritam Vyakarana perspective. So these are what we are covering in our traditional and short-term courses. As far as the traditional courses are concerned, it is college level rigor. So you would have seen when you try to register that you meet the prerequisites in terms of you being ready for that course. So it's important that you should come into these courses only if you meet the prerequisite, because we do not have the time and the bandwidth to revisit the prerequisite requirements. We assume that you are well equipped to meet the prerequisite requirement, and we can take it forward from there. Typically, so it's a college level rigor. There will be 2 semesters. There are multiple batches for most of these courses except for Kamalam. Every other course has at least 2 batches. Sasyam has got 5 batches. Lata has 2 batches. Malati has 2 batches, and Kamalam there is 1 batch in a week. Right? Each session would be of typically 90 minutes. That is what you get to spend with the acharya, not one-on-one in the class. You would have received an email communication as to what do we expect from you. A fairly detailed email which covers what is our expectation from you in terms of the conduct during the classroom, in terms of attendance, and in terms of homework submission. I will revisit them. When you attend the classroom, it is imperative that you keep your video on and you don't speak in between. When somebody else is speaking, take permission to speak, raise your hand. Zoom has got a lot of technological facilities where you can raise your hand digitally, and you would be asked to speak. So till such time, please don't speak, don't interrupt the flow of conversation that is already happening. And your video needs to be on, so we expect that the 90 minutes are dedicated for this and you're not involved in multitasking. In case you have an emergency, please send a communication to your acharya saying that you will not be able to attend that specific session, and take permission. Any student who misses 3 classes in a row, we have explained in the email what happens. We may have to discontinue that student from the course. There will be a weekly homework and assignment which should be given by the teacher, given by the acharya at the end of the week, depending on the time availability or the convenience of the acharya. One you should understand is that all acharyas who are teaching are volunteers, right? So they are involved in their own work. They have a lot in their own professional lives, and it is their love for Samskritam to spread the knowledge that they are contributing to help others also on the journey, just like they have been helped on that journey by previous acharyas and previous sevaks. So it's a part of the tradition where when you learn something, you try to share it with others and help them on their journey. So the weekly homework assignment submission will happen on Google Classroom. That is also communicated to most of you on the email. There would be a grading for each of the assignments. 3 assignments in a row, if you skip without permission, it's explained in the email what happens. End of the semester, there would be an examination. I have seen some messages where people have some difficulty in getting onto Google Classroom or in terms of, typically Google Classroom and Google Groups, what I have seen. Our primary mode of communication is through email. Google Classroom communication will happen on email. There's a Google group created for each of the courses. WhatsApp groups are created for most of the courses. WhatsApp group communication is restricted to the course material, nothing about current matters, political matters, and please don't try your luck in putting those messages. We are very strict about those. The messages in the groups, WhatsApp group, must be limited only to what is being taught or any doubts that people have. The focus of teaching in the traditional courses would be the learning of the language and appreciation of the language and the rigor. Like I mentioned, that the 4 courses will help you to take a good dip in the ocean of Sanskritam. It's not going to make you an expert. You can become an expert. It all depends on how much of time and effort one is ready to commit and dedicate to. You can. Critical success factors, you have, if you need to be successful, stick along the course. Regular attendance, regular assignments, that's what will make you work. There would be occasions where you may have to miss a class, maybe due to personal commitments, due to professional commitments. That's understandable. We record each and every session on YouTube, and YouTube recordings will be available. But YouTube recording is not a substitute for attendance. YouTube recording is basically for review and help you to clarify what you may not have clearly understood in the session. So please do not use YouTube as an alternative to attendance. It does not suffice to be an alternative to attendance. We would encourage all these people who have registered to be regular in their attendance. We expect 90 to 95% of attendance in each of the semesters. The short-term courses, it's a single semester course. It's a specific topic. It is an in-depth study. Right, I'm not spending too much time on this. The acharyas in their sessions will give you a lot more details because each of the topics are diverse. We are covering a fairly large spread in terms of the short-term courses, starting from Amarakosha, going up to Indic knowledge systems, and in between you have got Panini Vyakarana, and you also have Bhagavad Gita Vak, right? The student toolkit, WhatsApp groups are made available. Come back to the Malati students a bit later as to what is the mode we are going to use. WhatsApp group has been created and communicated to students of Sasyam, Lata and Kamalam. Google Groups has been communicated. Google Classroom has been communicated. Keep notes, YouTube and the Zoom link. For the time being, we are not communicated that. What we also plan to do is sometime during the course of the next week, we will teach you about how to upload your assignments onto Google Classroom and how do you access the notes, the course notes which are being prepared for each session, and where do you access the YouTube link. We will have one common orientation session for the students sometime during the course of the next week. You will also be given reference books. Yeah, somebody had a question. Yeah. You will also be given access to reference. You will also be told about the reference book. We have a very strict policy in terms of, though a lot of books are available on PDF format, floating around on Google across the www. Our sincere request to all of you is, if you have a liking for the language, you have a love for the language, you have the respect for the language, please make your contribution to purchasing hard copies of those books. Your thing will carry a long way in terms of spreading the knowledge and assimilating the knowledge. Right? This is as far as the course schedule is concerned. 5 batches of Sasyam, 2 batches of Lata, 2 batches of Malati, 1 batch of Kamalam as far as the traditional courses are concerned. The numbers given below each of them is the number of students who have registered for each of those courses. And is in terms of the short-term courses, we have closed registration for most of the short-term courses because we have run overboard. Many of the acharyas are going to be extremely unhappy with me on that regard. We would like to restrict our course participation to less than 30 because it becomes difficult to handle more than 30 people in a session, and the acharya's attention may not be adequate to may not find adequate time to devote to each of the participants, because you are come here because of your love of the language, because you want to learn. We are here because we love the language. You would like to teach what we already know. So since the reason why we are here is for learning the language, so we both of us both the acharya as well as the student needs to spend dedicated time. Let me also tell you that most of our acharyas spend close to 4 to 5 hours for each of their sessions. So we expect a similar kind of contribution from each of the students. With that, I think, thank you. Dhanyavadaha, punarmilamaha. Let me now stop sharing. Yeah. Now, can I request Rukmini ji, please, can you call upon Dr. Jaykumar ji? Just a minute, I'll bring up the screen. I request Rukmini ji to welcome Jaykumar ji and invite him to speak.
Namaskaram to Jaykumar ji. Narayan ji, can you spotlight him also?
Yeah, I'll do that.
I welcome Dr. Jaykumar Srinivasan Ammangudi. Namaskaram. Dr. Jaykumar Srinivasan Ammangudi graduated IIT from IIT Madras in 1985 and received his MS and PhD from Purdue University in USA with more than a dozen publications to his credit. He then worked for 25 years in the chemical industry in USA, 20 years of which was in the world's largest $80 billion polyethylene manufacturing company, becoming an expert in supply chain management and optimization. In parallel, Dr. Jaykumar studied Vedanta for over 25 years under Pujya Swamiji Dayananda Saraswati of Arshavidya Gurukulam in Houston, in USA, beginning in 2001. He established Vedanta and Sanskrit programs for adults and children, which are still running. He collaborated with many Indian organizations in Houston and organized programs with fresh perspectives. In 2020, he was awarded the Akhil Chopra Unsung Hero Award for his leadership and his contribution to the Houston community. Dr. Jaykumar also co-founded Indian History Awareness and Research, IHAR, which worked with the government of Texas states in US and later in a state in India in reviewing their social studies textbooks. IHAR's critics resulted in the Texas state withdrawing one new textbook for its blatant and anti-India narrative. Separately, IHAR's recommendations to SCRT were adopted in their textbooks for classes 6 to 10. Dr. Jaykumar decided to end his corporate career and returned to India in 2015 and spent 2 years at the Arshavidya Gurukulam of Swami Dayananda Saraswati in Coimbatore in Anikatti to study Vedanta and Samskritam in depth and full time. While caring for his aged parents, since 2018, he has been teaching Vedanta and Sanskrit and created awareness in youth regarding civilizational identity. foreseeing an increasing interest in Indian philosophy and Sanskrit, which would later manifest in NEP 2020, he founded the non-profit Arsha Seva Kendra, ASK, in 2019 in Coimbatore. Today, Arsha Seva Kendram has over 15 faculty teaching more than 20 courses. All received donations are employed in running a holistic development center for underprivileged children and youth, temple revival, rural cultural upliftment programs, and disaster assistance like COVID, etc. Dr. Jayakumar is known for his motivational speeches. In November 2022, invited by the Ministry of Culture, he spoke in Delhi on the topic engaging youth in the civilizational narrative. He has spoken at numerous schools and colleges, including PSG Tech, IIT Bombay, IIT Kharagpur, and Madura College on topics ranging from civilizational identity, human excellence, Indian philosophical traditions, and leadership. During COVID 2020, which was a period of intense stress for institutions, he also spoke on values, meaning of life, and life goals. In June 2023, he represented Arsha Vidya Gurukulam at a roundtable conference of 20 Hindu organizations in Delhi, organized by the Ministry of Culture to discuss promotion of Sanatana Dharma worldwide. So we are blessed to have him as our guide, as our teacher, and we all studied, even studying now Vedanta and Samskritam under him. And we are blessed to have him, such a human, in the form of human. He is the best guru, and not only guru in teaching, he lives the simplest life, looking after his parents and teaching and living what Shastra tells each word. And we welcome you, Jayakumar ji. Thank you.
Thank you, Rukmini ji. And thanks to all of you here. I'm happy to see so many people here today. And first of all, I want all of you to relax. This is supposed to be an enjoyable session. And you should not, when after the session and people ask you, how was the session? You shouldn't say, oh my God, it's a lot of rules and exams and homeworks and 5 to 6 hours and video on and, all these rules. No, I don't want you to say that. Okay, every class should have rules, We have to enjoy a class. It can't be arbitrary. It can't be random. It can't just go in 10 directions. So that's why we have some boundaries. And so we also learned how to conduct classes in the last so many years. I started teaching in 2018 before COVID, and my friends wanted me to teach Vedanta, Sanskrit, etc. I didn't know how to do it online. Vedanta online is okay because it's all a continuous talk, That's easy to do. But Samskritam is very difficult. So I didn't know how that would work. But somehow we developed systems, and it's a partnership between the teacher and the students, right? I think all of you know, online, it all sounds easy, sounds great. You don't have to drive, you don't have to go out, etc. You can just be in your bedroom, maybe even lying down and then, mute things, and I can watch my TV this side, catch up on day's news. And then the Sanskrit teacher is also teaching. By the way, poor teacher, she doesn't know what you're doing. Or I can even cut my vegetables in the morning, breakfast, lunchtime cutting, and learn some Sanskrit along the way, right? Learn Sanskrit while cooking. Great idea. But I'm afraid we won't allow you to do that. We won't allow means what? You don't know what you're doing, but we will be forced to turn on the video. And some teachers are lenient. Some of our teachers are very lenient. But in my Sanskrit classes, I was not lenient. I said, guys, if you can see me, I should be able to see you. Minimum fairness, guys, come on. If you can see me, you can see my everything is, and I should be able to see you. How can I connect? A teacher has to connect to the student. Only then the teaching happens. The chemistry works. All of you, many of you are shaking your heads, right? Otherwise, how do you teach? Already this is online. Half the fun is gone. Online itself means you don't know how you want to work out. We have to offer a prayer. That's why we start our classes with a big, long prayer. May this class work out well. Okay? Because that's the nature of online classes. The teacher has to be, know what she's doing. All our teachers do. And they have to pay attention to every student. They have to give a chance to every student. And they have to keep it engaging. Otherwise, you'll be watching the screen. The teacher thinks you're watching the screen, but you're actually doing WhatsApp, Catch up, because you're getting a lot of messages. Now is the time to catch up on messages. Okay, this is how it becomes. So, what we do is we ask, our teachers they're all students first and foremost, and they're teachers. So they understand what it takes to learn the language. And especially Samskritam is not, I won't say it's difficult, but I won't say it's easy either. It's neither easy nor difficult. Okay. And we systematize it so it becomes followable for you. And then, of course, many of our teachers have been students in this Arsha Seva Kendra. And many of them are attending other classes in our organization. And so I think it will be an enjoyable combination. It's as I said, it's a partnership between the student and the teacher. And so you should also feel free in your classes to engage with the teacher. If you, for example, somebody is unmuted and there is dog barking. Have you ever heard dog barking in online classes? I've heard all these things. That's why I'm giving you this example. I've heard, and then you have to wonder, what is this? Is it barking here? No, there's no dog here. Then what? Then you have to find out, you have to tell people to mute themselves, this and that. And in that case, in the example I was quoting, the person has gone, not even in the seat, and their dog is barking and it's unmuted. You can imagine now. Then fortunately, the Zoom host can mute them. But you see, sometimes what happens, there is a noise coming. There is some noise, some disturbing noise coming. And everybody is keeping quiet, hoping that somehow it will get solved. And this somehow takes a long time. So student should say, if there is a noise coming, can we quickly check it out? And can we find a way to get that noise out? Correct? So this is what I mean by participate. And don't wait for some magic to happen. The teacher is busy teaching, He or she is so excited that she has got students now, right? And now she is lost in teaching. All this vyakaranam and samasa is going on, vibhakti is going on, prathama vibhakti, dvitiya vibhakti, Bhagavad Gita, shlokas, this and that. And then this noise is going on. She doesn't understand that the students are having some difficulty hearing. Student has to raise up and say, ma'am, Mahodaye, atra kinchit anishtad manihi shruyate kutra asti iti kinchit nivaranam karaniyam tasya anehe iti. So you have to say like this. Our classes will be in Sanskrit, by the way. Samskrita bhashayam eva asmakam kakshaha prachalanti. Especially the basics, tasyam, etc. Samskrita bhashayam eva. So it should be fun for all of you. It's a beautiful way of learning Sanskrit. Our salutations to Krishna Shastri Ji of Samskrita Bharat. He is the man who decided one day, you know what? How come we are teaching Sanskrit in English? That's so odd. You get into Max Muller Bhavan, they teach German in German. They don't teach German in English. I learned French in my undergraduate college. And that guy, the French teacher, used to come into the classroom saying, "Écoutez, écoutez les oiseaux." You used to wonder, what? "Écoutez, écoutez les oiseaux." Listen to the birds. Those days, birds were there. And in IIT, still there are trees and all that. Birds were there. So listen to the birds. "Écoutez les oiseaux." So that's how I learned French. And so that's the technique that we are going to follow here also to the extent possible. And so I'm sure all of you will enjoy it. And many of you said that you're learning Samskritam in order to learn the Shastram. Shastram, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Ityadi. Okay. A couple of weeks ago, I gave a talk online talk at IIT Kharagpur had invited me. Talk on a topic about yoga and how yoga can help lead a harmonious life, help India become a world leader. No, they gave a very big title, very bombastic title. And then I spoke for some time. And you know what? The IIT Kharagpur's tagline, the tagline is Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. Am I audible? Okay, I'm audible. Thank you. So, see, that a teacher's responsibility is to ask these questions online, right? In a hall, you don't have to ask all these questions. Am I audible? Am I visible? Imagine asking, am I visible? Everybody will go, what's wrong with it? Am I visible? Now, I see some boys here. Mokshit and Sriram Venkatesh, very impressed. And I didn't realize the boys have signed up. Okay, that's so nice. Nice to have all of you here.
Balavarga.
Oh, Balavarga, Marakosha. Okay. Very nice to see all of you. Okay. So the Yoga Karmasu Kaushal. This is a phrase from the Bhagavad Gita, which says, Buddhi yukto jahati hai ubhe sukrita dushkrite tasmad yogaya yujyasva yoga karmasu kaushal. And there are 2 times the word yoga occurs in this shloka. How do you know what is the meaning of this yoga in this shloka? Yoga karmasu kaushal, it says. The word yoga has 10 meanings. 10 meanings. Different meanings also. Union, converging, etc. There is one sense. Another sense is topic. This Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters, right? Each chapter has a title, right? Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Some people translate that as the discipline of Arjuna's sorrow. You have many yogas. Yoga is good for you, right? Everybody gets up in the morning and does yoga, right? So all that. So yoga is good for you. Therefore, this also is a discipline. So you have to practice the discipline of Arjuna's sorrow. How many of you heard that? That means what? You should become sorrowful like Arjuna. Hey, that's not correct. You don't have to become sorrowful like Arjuna. We know what sorrow is. We know what sadness. You don't have to again become sad in order to study the Bhagavad Gita. No, Bhagavad Gita has to be studied with a proper mind, with a happy mind, with a relaxed mind. And so there the word yoga means topic. And so the topic of Arjuna's sorrow, etc. There is some. So like this, many meanings are there. How do you know what meaning to use? Here, in this case, one has to study the Bhashyam, commentary of the Bhagavad Gita. By Acharyas like Ramanujacharya and Shankaracharya. So Shankaracharya will explain. And he will sometimes refer to the dhatu. In Samskritam, the entire language is built from just 2,200 roots called dhatus. Entire language. Like the entire world of chemicals is made up of how many elements? Just 120 some elements, okay? When I was in school, they taught me 108 elements. Today, I think it's gone up somewhat. Okay, some 120 plus, I think. I don't remember the exact number. I'm not following that. But let's say 125 elements, for lack of a better number. So 125 elements, that's it. The entire universe is supposed to be made up of one or more of these elements, right? Exactly like that. Samskritam, every word in Samskritam comes from one of these 2,200 roots. That's it. And every word can be brought down to that root. Okay, that's a beautiful thing. And that science is developed by many grammarians like Panini. Okay. And so that's a beautiful science. How you take these dhatus and then build different words, verbs. Gachati, gum dhatu. How did gum become gach? Then gach become gachati. So all this is a big science. And that science, that is what we call Ashtadhyayi of Panini. And so this is a vast subject once you get into it. So I was giving you that example. And so just for one word, you have to really, even experts in Sanskrit, you could have studied Kalidasa's Raghuvamshan, Kalidasa's Shakuntalam, Kalidasa's other Kumara Sambhavam, etc. Upside down, inside out. But guess what? You will not be able to interpret the shloka. Correct? Because you know Samskritam. But guess what? This word yoga, how do you interpret? You can't. We don't know. Because we don't know the Gita properly. And Gita has to be understood properly and then interpret the shlokas. But without interpreting the shlokas, you can't understand Gita properly. So it's a catch-22. Correct? To know one shloka properly, you have to understand the big picture. But to understand the big picture, you need to know all the shlokas. Catch-22. That's why they say, Guru me bhavi gachet. Like that, Mundaka Upanishad says that. Anyway, therefore, as many of you have already said, learning Sanskritam is not an end in itself. It is a means to an end. Any language is a means to an end. Okay? Any language, our mother tongue is not an end in itself. I might like my mother tongue. I may have done literature in my language or any language. I may be a poet. I could be a writer, author, etc. But I'm good in a language, but I'm using that language to write books, to write poems, to teach, etc., right? So, at the minimum, language is used for communication. Therefore, language is by itself not an end. And so, Sanskritam also is like that. So, therefore, they say Sanskritam is Deva Bhasha. Have you heard that Deva Bhasha? How many of you have heard Deva Bhasha? Yeah, almost all of you have heard Deva Bhasha. What is the meaning of Deva Bhasha if I ask you? What will you say? It is the language spoken by the gods. Correct? Language spoken by gods. Okay. Now, that's nice to know. That's nice to know. Oh, the God spoke this language. Okay. Now, if you go to America and say God language spoken by the gods, they will laugh at you because their God is different, you know. Does it include my God also, or is it only your God who spoke this language? They'll start talking like that. And so we don't get into that discussion. Our God spoke Sanskrit. That's what they say. But really speaking, that's not the meaning of Deva Bhasha. The Deva Bhasha meaning is many reasons we can give. And one of the reasons is the human goals of life, the life's goals, okay, is hard to express properly. And Sanskritam has the beautiful words to express our goals of life. Okay? Like moksha, dharma, karma, try to find out translations for these words. Dharma, tell me the translation. Karma, give me the translation in English. Moksha, give me the translation in English. Moksha, they say salvation. But salvation cannot be a translation for moksha. Do you know why? You know why? Because salvation is a Western concept applying to an Abrahamic religion, let's say Christianity. And their idea of salvation is very different from our idea of moksha. Okay? They say you are a sinner. We say you're not a sinner. Bhagavan Sri Krishna addresses Arjuna as what? Anaga. Anaga means sinless. You are sinless, my dear friend. Like that he addresses, whereas they address us as sinners. So where is the connection between these two? There's no connection at all. And so salvation means what? We need to salvage the sinner in a way that that person gets salvation. But that's not our idea. Our idea is you're already divine. You have to recognize your divinity. That recognition is moksha. How about that? How about that for a definition, right? So these concepts require a language. And because our rishis, if at all you can call oldest religion, it is Sanatana Dharma. And so they've spent so much time on this topic, these various topics. And so therefore, and the other reason for using the word Deva Bhasha is because the way the language is built, it's so precise. It's so precise. Anybody who loves mathematics even a little bit will love Sanskrit. Because there's an order in it. There's an order in it. Okay? If I ask you, how do you pronounce C-A-K-E? C-A-K-E. Cake. Then I'll ask you, how do you pronounce C-E-A-S-E? C-E-A-S-E. Keys, right? Because C-A-K is cakes. Therefore, this must be keys, right? No, it's not keys. If you say keys, you're wrong. It is C's. Okay? Or what about C-H-I-P? How do you pronounce C-H-I-P? Kip. C-H-I-P. Kip. No, that's wrong. It's not kip. And it's not sip also because S-I-P is sip. C-H-I-P is chip. So in English, there is no one-to-one correspondence between the letter and the pronunciation. You know that very well. In all Indian languages, there is a one-to-one pronunciation, one-to-one linkage. So many reasons we can give. Today's purpose is not to discuss that. But so some of us are studying Samskritam at the basic level. Some of them are advanced. And some of us study the Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads. Some of us study the Shankara Bhashyam. And then Shankara Bhashyam is there. They write commentaries of the Bhagavad Gita, for example. Then there are people who write commentaries on the commentary of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, it's called Tika. Then some people write commentaries on the commentaries on the commentary of Bhagavad Gita. That's called Tippani or Vartika Tippani. Then there's another commentary to the Vartika. It's called Tippani. Like this, there is a big list of works. If you start looking at all these things, one lifetime is not enough. Correct? And if you say, I love Samskritam, then your life is made. I say your life is made. Correct? Your life is made. You cannot die a sad person. Is it possible to die a sad person? It's not possible. Because you love Samskritam. Samskritam is Deva Bhasha. It's the language of the gods. You'll get closer and closer to the gods as you study it. That's it. And so you can just get lost and then you won't even know that you have died. I mean, I don't want to use the word die, etc. But I'm just joking here. And so, therefore, Deva Bhasha, it's not an ordinary thing. Our rishis have spent lifetimes on this and perfected the language. And so here, no, we like to make it practical. Our conversations will be in that language. And the reason I mentioned that example, Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam, they translate it as perfection in action is called yoga. How many of you heard that meaning to that? Perfection in action is called yoga. A few of you heard perfection in action. Now they have to define what perfection is. Because is perfection really possible? What I ask you, is perfection really possible? Somebody says, I'm perfect. Then what? That means what? Then the next day, somebody else will say, I've done a better job. So who is perfect? You are perfect or I'm perfect? So perfection can never be a goal. you define perfection, it's going to be tough. It's an ideal. It's an ideal, correct? You can say I did a nice job, but perfect job, very difficult to say. Can an architect say I did a perfect job of this house? No, I can point to one corner and say, look, it's easy to find mistakes. We're all good people, right? We're all very smart when it comes to finding mistakes, right? I'm very good at that. And I'm sure some of you are good at that also. Finding mistakes, somehow it's so easy. We have a Parayanam class every morning at 9:15. Yajurveda Parayanam we do, okay? And Swamiji is leading and we take turns to chant Parayanam, okay? Half an hour every morning. And we chant, right? When we chant, we make some mistakes and all, we correct ourselves. Sometimes we don't correct ourselves. Somebody else has to point it, etc. Then somebody else is chanting. And you know what? When somebody makes a mistake, immediately I point out. Next mistake, immediately I point out. Next mistake, immediately I'm so good at pointing out. How come? That mistake finding, I think we are all somehow naturally we are good at it. And that is what ruins marriages also. So don't get into the habit of finding faults. Okay, just keep that skill in the background. Use it only when you absolutely have to use it. And so I'm so happy to see all of you. And online courses, as I said, it's easy to attend, etc. But be careful. Headaches, eyesight problems, dry eyes. All these are problems some of you already have, I know that. But that's why I said relax. I said relax, because on top of that, stress also. And then the doctor will ask, I don't know if it is stress headache or Sanskrit class headache. That's what he will say. Or this online video watching headache, So you have to learn to relax. And relax the eyes also sometimes, I suppose, periodically. We have some teachers, many of them are very good in yoga. You should ask them this also, to tell us how to relax ourselves, the eyes, and they're good in pranayama and they're good in so many things. Our Narayanji, who started this class, he's in yoga for decades. And so, at Yasyasa, he's done some courses. He wanted to do a PhD. He was doing a PhD. I think I should say he was doing a PhD. Yeah, I don't think he's completed it yet. But yeah, so we have some good guides there also. And I mean, Narayanji scared you a little bit by saying, don't skip classes and all that. But for Sanskrit classes, I think that statement is true. You know how I learned it? Because I was attending a course by this Soumyaji of Vyoma. How many of you have taken courses from Vyoma? Yeah, all of us have taken Vyoma. So very nice. I love all of them. And every Saturday morning, right? Shiksha. And I was attending. I was doing all the homeworks, everything. Then one day she said, I'm going to postpone it to Sunday. Sunday, I could not attend the class. Then I said, I'll watch the video. There is no time to watch video. You know why? Because my week is packed with classes. Every day there are 2 classes going on. And watch video later never happened. Then next class, she did something and that class also I missed. 2 classes I missed. That's it, over. That's it, over. I could not come back to this course. That's it, over. The course was gone from my radar, right? It happens. Sanskritam is like that. And any language, I suppose, can be like that. And so that was just me. I hope it's not like that with you. But generally, that's what happens. I will catch up. That is a dangerous statement. It is very attractive to say, I will watch the video and then catch up. I tell you, I know all of you are busy. You're all family. You have children, you have parents, you're working, and you're doing so many things. So your week is packed. I know that. And so plan your, I mean, it's not that you should not miss a class. It's possible to catch up. We'll post the video on YouTube and you can catch up. But I just want to caution you that once you miss a couple of classes, then, you go to the class and then you wonder, what is she talking about? What is this? Is this Samskritam or what? Like that, you'll start getting a doubt. And so let not that happen. And so, there is a nice Vashitam. Acharyat padam adatte. In any language, in any subject, 1/4 is learned from the teacher. Acharyat padam adatte. Many of you will know this Vashitam. Padam shishya swamedaya, padam swa brahmacharibhyaha, padam karyakramam. Like that, there is a Subhashita. 1/4 is learned from the teacher. Another 1/4 of the subject is learned from the student's own effort. Shishya swamedaya. Correct? Swamedaya, just doing the homeworks, etc. And doing some other study references, all that. Then, padam swa brahmacharibhyaha. 1/4 is learned by working with classmates. How much we have done in school and college, right? How much we have done it. At least we must be able to talk. Hey, this guy is going so fast, yeah. What is this? It's so difficult. He makes simple concept very complicated, yeah. Now, how much these kinds of dialogues we've had so much. This is boring, yeah. He is good, yeah. Very good, yeah. And so like that we used to say. And we don't have room for those opportunities in an online class. But I've requested the teachers to engage the students. So this is where the creativity of the teachers come and how well they engage the students. Giving everybody an equal chance. It takes some practice. Our teachers are also learning how to use this online system. It's not easy. And it takes a lot of practice. I have practiced a lot. I'm still learning. And, engaging everybody is not easy. And so, and we do meet. We meet in Bangalore, we meet in Coimbatore. We've done all these crazy things. Our people are very smart. They quite to find a way for all of us to meet. So we onliners have met. So I've met all our teachers, almost all our teachers, except for a couple, except for one maybe. And so some people have come here and things like that. So you're welcome to be creative and suggest ways for us to meet somewhere, and so. So, I think I've made the point, and I want to thank all of you once again for joining. I think it should be fun, despite all the rules and regulations that Narayanji listed out. Still, I think it will be fun. And every student that has passed out of our institute has said, we love your courses because of the rigor and discipline. You can ask maybe half of you are already past students and remaining half are new students. Okay, we've got about 200, 250 registrations, 220 registrations, I think. So yeah, I want you to ask questions. I think that's the best way to utilize this time, Narayanji, rather than me talking. Okay, so hopefully we'll have some time so they can ask us some questions. But I'll turn it over to you, Narayanji. I want to thank everybody once again.
Guruji, would you like to introduce the Acharyas?
Okay. All right, I'll do that. So we have, as Narayanji said, we are teaching traditional courses, 4 levels: Sasyam, Lata, Malati, and Kamalam. And then some other specialized courses like Amara Kosha and Indic Knowledge Systems. So I'll introduce all the teachers. They've all been students here in Samskritam Bharati, in IIT, Roorkee, and so on and so forth. So everybody is studied in many places, and but they're all dedicated. They spend all day studying or teaching. This is what our people do. They are very good at doing this. They either study or they teach. Okay, this is what they do. And their children love it. You know why? Because these people are always staring at the screen and the children are having a lot of fun in the rooms. So their children love their parents. All our teachers are loved by their children, okay? So anyway, first teacher, Rukmini Gopalji, she introduced me. And so she's in Coimbatore. I live in Coimbatore also. And she's a teacher from Delhi. She retired as a teacher in Delhi. And she's been a student of Swami Dayananda Saraswati Ji for many years, more than a couple of decades. And she also ran a balwadi. Ran a school for children of laborers in Delhi. You know, this migrant laborers. So she ran a school. And for 17 years in Gurugram, she ran that school. Talked to her about it. And then she passed the Kovida exam conducted by Samskritam Bharati. She's taken courses by IIT Roorkee, 5 levels of Subhashitam, Samskritam. And she taught Pravesha also at Samskritam Bharati. And now she's teaching Bhagavad Gita as well, basic Bhagavad Gita. So I welcome Rukmini ji. Thank you. Meera Narayanan is from Bangalore, and she's a gold medal in BSc Yoga. She has an MSc in Yoga Therapy from Vyasa University. She's been practicing yoga for 25 years. I told you guys, there is going to be a lot of yoga experts also. You'll be wondering, hey, you know what? They should be teaching yoga. How come they're teaching Sanskrit? But they know, they're very smart people. They know that yoga, you have to know Sanskrit even to understand yoga properly. And so she runs regular therapy sessions. She works with pregnant women, teaching them prenatal yoga therapy for proper childbirth and child health, mother health, and so forth. And she studies Bhagavad Gita as well as Samskritam at our Kendra. Thank you, Veeraji. Welcome. Then we have Jayashree Shenvi. She's probably not here. She's in Australia. I'll introduce her quickly. She's a BCom from Bangalore University, and she finished Shiksha at Samskritam Bharati, and finished Samsadhani course conducted by IIT Roorkee, and she's also studying at our Kendra. Then we have Narayanan, whom you saw a bit earlier. He's also a teacher of Sasyam. He has a bachelor's in engineering, and he has postgraduate degrees in management and yoga therapy. Okay. And if you ask him to introduce himself, he'll say, "I am a VIP." He'll say, "I'm a VIP." What? VIP? Yeah, in Tamil, VIP means Velai illada payyan. Velai illada payyan. I'll explain this to you. I'll translate this, okay, for non-Tamilians. Velai means job. Illada means jobless. Payyan means boy. I'm a jobless boy. That is the meaning of VIP. Okay? So he's unemployed. Like me, he's also unemployed. Like many others also in our Kendra. And so he's studied Ashtanga Yoga. He's studying Vedanta. He's studying Veda Parayanam. He's been practicing yoga for a long time. And I don't know, Narayanji, you were pursuing PhD. Should I say you are pursuing PhD or what?
I dropped it, Guruji.
I don't know sometimes whether my Vedanta classes are to blame for that or not. But he stopped that PhD in yoga. But anyway, you can see, our people are all very studying all our Indian knowledge systems. Okay? Each branch is very detailed. You can really get into a lot of detail. So thank you, Narayanji. Welcome. He's been teaching before also, and he's continuing to teach. And we've got Anuradha Anant. She is also not here, I believe. And she's from Chennai. And she likes Sanskrit. She's been a student of Samskrita Sri since 2012. She's an MA Sanskrit from University of Madras. She's contributing short stories to the Madras Sanskrit College YouTube channel. She's very good. She's creative in using those animations. Not animations, actually taking videos of characters, young children and things like that. And so she has a postgraduate degree in engineering, and she's a mother of 2. Welcome to Anuradha Anant. Now we've got, so that's 5 teachers in our basic Sasyam course. Okay? The next level 2, is called Data. And we've got 2 teachers for 2 sessions, Karthik Nagendra, and he is not here, I think. He is an advisor to the Real Estate Research Initiative of the Indian Institute of Management in Bengaluru. So he's employed there. He's a data scientist as well. He's an alumnus of IIT Mumbai, IIT Bombay, and he's done many projects which involve public policy, Indian government public policy shaping. So he's been involved in that quite a bit. and he studies Vedanta and Samskritam outside his work. And he believes that some of the problems we face today, modern day problems, so to speak, he believes that some of the solutions lie in our Shastram. That's his belief. So welcome to Karthik Nagendra. And the second teacher here is Janev Vitil. Yeah, there he is. And Janev lives in Los Angeles, in California. He's taught before, and now he's taught Sasim before, and this year he's teaching Lata. And he learned Sanskritam from Samskrita Bharati and Chinmaya Mission. He likes Sanskritam shlokas and reading stories and Shastram. And he told me when he wanted to teach, he told me, I'm not like I don't follow any particular book and things like that. I'm non-traditional and so forth. So I like that idea. And so I think he likes teaching that way, and his students like him very much. And he's been teaching for a while now. And for a work, he's employed as a software engineer in the consulting, software technology consulting. Thank you, Janev ji. And Janev visited me in Coimbatore some 2 years ago. I think I was so happy to meet him. Thank you. Welcome. Surya Arvind is another teacher. Now we're at Malati. Okay, Lata, we've covered 2 teachers. Malati, the 3rd level, we've got 2 teachers. Surya Arvind, she lives in Los Gatos in California also. She's from Srirangam near Tiruchi. He's a Karyakarta with Samskrita Bharati also, and she helps a lot of non-profit organizations besides Sparsha Seva Kendram, and she's also a certified yoga teacher. Big welcome to Surya Arvind. And Bhanu Chandra, he lives in California and Hyderabad. He travels between the 2 cities. And he's been a student of Sanskritam and has been teaching for about 2-3 years. And his interest is in linguistics, and in particular Sanskritam, and how that language impacts thought processes, impacts our ways of thinking, and impacts the whole culture itself. That's his interest, research interest. And he also has an interest in Indian history. So Rukminiji talked about Indian history, which is important. Important because we find suddenly that Indian history is not about, it seems like a non-Indian history. Okay. And so how do you change non-Indian history to Indian history? Okay, that's the project. It's a very big project. And so Bhanu Chandra has been participating in that initiative also. And so a big welcome to Bhanu Chandra as well. He's currently in Hyderabad. Then I want to introduce Haripriya Kidambi. She lives in Bangalore. She's been teaching for about more than 2 years now. There she is. She is going to be teaching 4 courses this time. And she's going to teach Kamalam, the 4th level course, and Amarakosha, Balavarga, and Amarakosha for adults. And she's taken the course Indic Knowledge Systems from another organization, MIT. And so she's going to be teaching that now. It's a joint collaboration between us and them. And so it's, we are thankful for this joint collaboration. Haripriya ji is a musician. She studied music. She holds a bachelor's in music from Madras University. She's taught Carnatic music for 25 years. She's composed music for the Sangeet Natak Academy, the National Academy, Indian National Academy for Music, Dance and Drama. She has an MA in Samskritam in the field of Alankara Shastram. From Karnataka Samskrita University, she's been teaching Bhagavad Gita, Amarakosha, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Samskritam also recently. Literature is also another area she's worked in. She's translated several Sri Vaishnava works from Telugu and from English into Kannada. Okay. And she's done a Pali dictionary project. And she's also a certified yoga teacher. So we've got people who are very qualified. Many of them don't talk much about them also, even though I I said only a few words about each teacher. I think as you enter your classes, in one of the classes, you should ask them. You should ask your teacher to tell about themselves, about their lives, and how they entered the stream. Did they quit something? Did they quit a job, etc.? And you will be very fascinated by their lives as well. So thank you, Haripriya ji. Welcome to these courses again. Then we've got Uma Meenakshi from Mumbai, and she's going to be teaching Panini, Ashtadhyayi, basics of Ashtadhyayi. So this is a very, it's in a way an advanced topic. Okay? In our Sanskrit courses, we generally learn Vyakaranam, right? Verbs, nouns, forms, how to form sentences, Anmaya, and then what are samasas. We learn all these ways and basics of language, so you can make some sense out of these sentences, and you can read some stories, and then you can read some essays. Maybe you can write a couple of paragraphs. So we get to that point. But then this Panini Vyakaranam is a different area altogether. As I said earlier, it's the science of the language. Science of the language means what? How the language can be developed from its constituent. Okay, how to mathematically program the language. Maybe that language is understandable to you. Okay, you go to these websites, and sometimes you can type the word, and it will tell you the entire 21 forms of the nouns. Ramaha, Ramo, Ramaha, Ramam, Ramo, Raman, Ramena, Ramabhyam, Ramaihi. That website has an algorithm that's working underneath. Okay, that algorithm uses Panini's grammar. Okay, to put together all these rules and then generate those forms. Okay, and so Maji will be introducing her students to that Dhyayi, and also called Panini sometimes. There are various grammar systems, by the way, and Panini is one of the 2 or 3 popular grammar systems of Samskritam. And so she'll be teaching that. She started before, she's going to be teaching again. And she says she accidentally discovered Sanskrit after retirement. Okay. And so talk to her about that. What kind of accident was it? And in your class, you should ask her that question. And so she studied Gita Sopanam, all the 4 levels. She's been teaching Sanskritam for many years now. And she likes to teach Sanskrit modules also, like Sandhi module, Samasa module, and so forth, to make that language more accessible to students. Sometimes the course keeps moving on, and sometimes you may get a feeling, I wish I had spent a couple of more classes learning Sandhi. That feeling might come. So it shouldn't come, but if it does, then somebody like Umaji can teach that, take a particular topic and unfold it to its full extent. Thank you, Umaji, for joining us. Thank you. I want to introduce now Dr. Manjari Malekar ji. She's going to be teaching Bhagavad Gita Bhakt, basically learning Samskritam through the Bhagavad Gita. There are many ways of learning Sanskrit. Grammar is one way. The traditional way of learning Sanskritam is through grammar. The way I learned Sanskritam long ago in school was the Ramaha, Ramo, Ramaha, Ramam, Ramo, Rama. This is how they started. Okay. And we memorized it. We were good at, children, all children are good at memorizing. So we memorized it, and then we wrote some sentences, etc. And so that's how we learned. But that's not the way a child learns a language. The child learns the mother tongue, right? Not by saying this is a verb, that's a noun, this is a predicate, that is subject, and this is an article, that is passive, this is active. No, not like that. No active passive business. The child, by the time the child is 3 or 4 years, it's already speaking quite well. Okay. Maybe the vocabulary is not that big. But so that's a beautiful way to learn Sanskritam, through just conversations. That's how we normally like to do. But Manjari ji is going to teach you Sanskritam through Bhagavad Gita. It's a nice, it's a creative way. It's not easy to do, but she's learned that well, and so she's going to teach you that. She's an ophthalmologist and an eye surgeon by profession, She is a medical consultant at 2 hospitals in Mulund, Ami Eye Hospital in Mulund East in Mumbai. Those of you familiar with Mumbai geography can recognize that. And she's a consultant at the Fortis Hospital in Mulund also, Mulund West. She's completed Kovida. She's a qualified Samskritam Bharati teacher in Maharashtra. She worked with the Gita Parivar organization and she completed what is called Gita Vrati. And so she's memorized all the 700 shlokas of the Bhagavad Gita. Really, I mean, that's we have to do namaskar to her just for that feat. Because some children can do it, but I've never heard of an adult having memorized. And so this is the first time I'm seeing somebody like that. Namaste to Manjari ji for that. Salutes to her. And so she received a gold medal from Gita Parivar achievement. And as far as research, she is doing a comparative research study of this ophthalmology and oculoplasty. I think that's basically some kind of reconstructive and plastic surgery of the eyes. And she's comparing that with the Sushruta Samhita. So clearly that requires her to know Samskritam as well, because Sushruta Samhita originally it is in Sanskrit. So I'm sure she's relying on translations as well as the original. And so I think that's an important project. Sushruta lived 2,500 years ago, I think. I think so, if I remember right, 5 or 6 BCE. Okay. So she's also a yoga teacher and she completed Pradeepak teacher's course in Brahma Vidya in English and Marathi. So please welcome Manjari ji also to the Kendram and to the course. So there is Anuradha Anand from Chennai. Welcome. She's a mother of 2 small children. So we can imagine, how many things we juggle, Many people are working, many IT people are working from home. And we think it's easy, but actually it's very difficult. Because trying to separate home from work becomes more difficult. And then work keeps penetrating all the way. And so it's difficult. But, I salute all our teachers for doing what they're doing. So please, you'll have a chance to engage with your teachers. So I turn it over to you, Narayanji. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Guruji. We are open to questions. So you can raise your digital hand. You can put up your hand and we'll go in the order of the questions being asked. You can ask any questions related to the course, any questions related to Arsha Seva Kendram. If you're asking a question, we would like to see your face, please. So if your video is not on, please don't ask a question. Shailesh ji, can we have a look at you? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Shailesh ji, please go ahead.
Yeah, the one question regarding the books. We are living overseas. How we are going to get the books here?
So, which course have you registered for, Shailesh ji?
Sasyam.
Sasyam. And where do you stay?
I live in London.
Okay. So, okay. So, as far as our course is concerned, a lot of these books are available online. Our teaching would be online. Our teaching would be online. The reference books what we typically refer to are the Rashtriya Samskrita Shikshanam books.
Okay.
So we will give you a contact number in Mumbai. There is a gentleman who will be able to send the books across to you.
Well, I will appreciate that.
Yeah, we will share that when the classes start. We will share this documentation with you.
Okay. Namo namo. Dhanyawad.
Dhanyawad.
Narayanji, I wonder if we should share that information right away so that they can order the books and the books may be in hand by the time the classes start. I'm just curious if that can be.
We will do that, Guruji. Anybody else wants to ask a question? Are there no questions? Lakshmi ji, can we see you? I can't spotlight you if your video is not on. Yeah, your video is on. Yeah, just a minute. Yeah, Lakshmi ji, go ahead.
So I have the same question, sir, regarding the books. I live in the US. I put it in the chat so that, instead of coming on video and asking the same question, for regarding the books, if you can share that information ahead, that was a great suggestion, so that we can be ready for the classes and not waste any class time.
Sure, Lakshmi ji. Please go ahead.
Namaste. I had a question about the Bhagavad Gita Vak course. Is it going to be similar to like the Gita Sopanam course that was run by Samskritam Bharati?
Manjari ji, would you like to take that question? You're not audible, Manjari ji. We can't hear you. We can't hear you, Manjari ji. Na shruyate mahodaye. Audio is bad. So maybe Manjari ji will answer your question on the WhatsApp group. You are part of Bhagavad Gita Vak?
Yes, that's right.
So we'll request Manjari ji to answer your question on the WhatsApp group.
Ji, thank you.
Akila ji, go ahead.
Namaste Mahodaya. When is the first class for Malati starting?
Everything starts next week. From Monday, all classes start.
Okay. Dhanyavad.
Any other questions? Parvati ji, please go ahead.
Namaste Mahodaya. What is Amarakosha? Sorry.
I request Haripriya ji to answer. Haripriya ji, if you are there.
Okay, just a minute.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Shruyate.
Amarakosha is a book of synonyms actually. Is like a dictionary. You will be learning all the whatever nouns are there. For most of the nouns, we have synonyms in Amarakosha. It is like in the Gurukula system, they would teach children first Amarakosha, then Shabdamanjari, like that. They have to by heart the entire book. But nowadays, in this kind of teaching, it's not possible. So we will be taking up a part of Amarakosha. That will be the first part we will be teaching here.
Dhanyavad.
Purmi, please go ahead.
Is there any book we need to buy for Amarakosha?
Amarakosha Balavarga?
Yes.
Yeah. There's a book you will need to buy, and once the class, Haripriya Mahodaya will communicate to you, and you can also look at the course brochure where we have given you the reference books. Each of the courses have got a course brochure where the reference books are mentioned. Right? Okay. Dhanyavad. Any other questions, please? If there are no other questions, can we conclude? Can we do the Mangalam, Meeraji?
ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः